Hello, everybody, and welcome back. The next session we have here, that's the role of DGNB in Europe, and we would like to have this session in English with our colleagues here. I want to introduce, so here on the left side, Mette Qvist, our colleague from Denmark, GBC Denmark. You are CEO in GBC Denmark, and Mette is here especially for this event, for you, for us. Thank you for coming. Second.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and it's great to be here. And congratulations with your 15-year anniversary.
Thank you. And second panelist today here in this session is Bruno Sauer from GBC España, also here for the event, and I'm happy to have you here. GBC España is one of the younger GBCs in the family, and I think this makes the discussion also interesting later on about how DGNB is seen, not only in a country like Germany or Denmark, where the DGNB system is in place for a longer time. And last but not least, Heinz Bernegger, colleague from SGNI, the Schweizer Gesellschaft für Nachhaltige Immobilienwirtschaft, so GBC, Swiss GBC, or whatever the translation in English is. You're here from Zurich, not so far. Anyway, happy to have you here, and you made it. You did not try to fly. That's good.
It was no problem, also.
And on the screen, we should see some Peter here on the screen on Zoom. Wake up. Peter Engert from ÖGNI, Österreichische Gesellschaft für Nachhaltige Immobilienwirtschaft. He tried to come here. He did his best, but it was not his fault not to come here. You're not happy about that, I can see it, but good to have you here.
Yes, I'm still angry about that, about the missing service quality of Austrian Airlines and Lufthansa. I tried my best to come to Stuttgart, and I would love to have some caipirinhas with you and your colleagues, but sorry. I'm sitting here in the Lower Austria district, Weinviertel, looking to you and being angry.
Okay, but we won't go ahead now with being angry. We would like to put in some European perspective into the discussion now. And when we were starting 15 years ago, there was this, the idea that we can do better. We discussed that before. We were looking for market transformation, and we were defining principles, and I think these are still principles and value we are following. Alexander was mentioning the life cycle perspective, but also the holistic view in sustainability, that it's not about optimizing one of the aspects, it's really bringing the different needs and aspects in balance, the performance, and this is very good link to the Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs, and even if this topic is not at an end and solved, so what's defined in the SDGs, there are some more aspects we have now to prioritize, and the carbon issue is one of them. It was clear from the very beginning that this will be a long way to go, because SDGs are very ambitious, and this is necessary to have these ambitious goals. And if you look into an African saying, then it makes it also clear. So if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And I think we realized that from the very beginning, and you realized that as well. And that's the reason why we were starting and working with partnerships. And we were it was clear that we need a different way of collaboration. It's not about making business with others, it's about working together, and partnership, I think, is the best word describing this. The challenges today we have seen in the youngest IPCC report, the climate crisis, but also the energy crisis and so on. We have to find these priorities. And if we look now from a European perspective, in Germany it's always hard to understand that it could be different in other countries, but it is different, and that's why I'm so happy to have you here. And the question maybe first to you, Mette. So what is the role of the building and construction sector in public discussion in Denmark? Is the B&C sector seen as a part of the problem or a part of the solution?
Yeah, I'd like to say the last. I'd like to say that it's part of the solution. We're not there yet, but that's where we have a very important role to play, us GBCs, to present solutions out there, because we definitely need to progress and we need to show what is possible due to the lack of resources, due to CO2, climate problems and so on. I think these last 2 years have been quite special, I guess, for all of us in Europe, because the EU is moving really fast, and we've seen that in Denmark as well, where there's so much political focus now also on our industry. And before that, real estate industry, construction and so on could go on doing as they used to do, not being penalized at all. Some few and more became members of our associations, but still not moving far enough. But now we see legislation going this direction, and they need our advice, they need your advice, and they are ready to go for it. In Denmark next year, actually, the legislation will set targets for CO2 with an LCA program that was developed by our council. We're really proud of it, and thanks a lot to the DGNB holistic way of looking at it. This is where certification can help legislation. So it's not where it should be. It's moving in the right direction. People are more and more looking at what they're doing when they buy a house, instead of, okay, how much meat do we eat, how often do we fly? Well, actually, what do we do when we move to a new house and so on is really important for each and every citizen. We're not there totally, but we're moving fast.
I've seen a graph where the targets of Denmark are one of the most ambitious targets for the next couple of years. For me, that was really impressive, and it convinced me to look more in detail how you do it. Because we have seen that that we have to go farther than we thought 15 years ago. That's clear. More ambition is necessary. And the question to you, Heinz, is industry ready for this transformation we need? Because it's not a little change; it's really a full transformation.
I can only talk about the situation in Switzerland, and in Switzerland, I think we are not really ready. Also, then I think also the other countries, because we have a lot of engineers and knowledge in Switzerland, but this knowledge is more in Ireland. And for the future, I think it's really, really helpful that we apply this holistic approach from the DGNB system, also to bring together all this knowledge from the people, the engineers we have, also the architects, which are, the interest is really, really rise up actually in this topic of sustainability.
Mm-hmm. Typically, Europe is very strong in regulation. I think Switzerland is not so different to the EU in this context. but nevertheless, so we see initiatives like the Green Deal, Sustainable Finance, EPBD, CPR, and so on. And this is a certain mindset. Is that mindset welcome also in Spain, Bruno, or is it more that people in Brussels are doing things and now you have to do it in Spain?
No, I think it's welcome, for sure. I think in Spain there is a quite high appreciation of everything what Europe is defining and what it's doing. I think at least being Belgium, living in Spain, I can share a certain kind of feeling of being a part of a big European vision, ambition, strategy. I think from Green Building Council España, I think we have been working also since 2015 in creating the levels framework together with you, DGNB, and with other ones. So in that sense, I think there's absolutely no problem with alignment. I think we need it. Spain, I think as a country, as a government, they need this European push, always saying where should we go to. But I would like to mention two important aspects when we speak about European vision, ambition. Two elements that I would like to focus on. First of all, last week in London, we were in our global network in World GBC. And on a certain moment, everybody was saying, "Yeah, we have to repeat what Europe is doing in other countries, in other continents." And the most critical voices came from European countries on that debate, because we are conscious that you can't just copy-paste one thing from another. On a global level, very difficult, because you have to work with diversity, we have to work with differences between culture, different climates. But the same argument is happening in Europe. I mean, Europe is one directive somewhere, but the need of bringing it down to a local situation is very needed and important. That was also our exercise as GBC España with the DGNB system. You have to bring it to a Spanish context and to a Spanish way of working. And that's not always that easy. That's yeah, not so easy. That's the first point. And the second point is, I'm a little bit afraid that the market is, on this moment, asking for sub-items to be solved. Decarbonization, circular economy, ESG, taxonomy. We have a danger that we lose the holistic view on sustainability. So I think if we are able, coming decades, to work on every item, but not losing the vision on sustainability as a holistic stuff, and we are able to bring down to every local situation what we're doing together, I think then we're making a big progress.
Yeah, I fully agree, and we will come back to this point, I think, in the later discussion. But before that, I would like to include Peter in the discussion. The taxonomy topic was already mentioned before, and this is a system for classifying financial streams. And in our understanding, it's a new lever for if it's used in the right way. Is it working in Austria already? So I got good signals from you.
Yes, it's working very good. First of all, greetings to my colleagues on the stage, Mette, Bruno, and Heinz. I'm not really happy not to be with you. The second one is greetings to the founders of ÖGNI, that they made the right decision 13 years ago, I think. To take the European certification system as a main point into the ÖGNI activities, because now we can see the favors of this system. And of course, taxonomy, it's a very good point, and we have a lot of clients, finance institutes, insurance companies, and so on, who want the taxonomy reports, certifications for their buildings. And we find a lot of new members for ÖGNI, because everyone wants to fulfill the taxonomy. A few one can fulfill it, to be honest. So it's very interesting to bring the people into a view of sustainability that's new, a view that is also not a few like we want to do something good for the humankind, we want to do something good for environment, but we want to do something good for our economical view. And this is different from 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people are interested in taxonomy, and taxonomy bring them to the DGNB system.
This is good to hear, and in the end, the taxonomy is also an instrument where it's necessary and very helpful to work together. That's we have seen, because portfolios are not typically, but very often international, and therefore the local expert are the expert for the specific questions in the market, and that leads me to the organization we have established a couple of years ago, CEPIA, the Climate Positive Europe Alliance. It's a Brussels-based NGO, and yeah, maybe Bruno, you were one of the founder there as well. Tell us more about CEPIA and how we can really use such a Brussels-based organization to accelerate.
Well, CEPIA was born out of a couple of beers. We were drinking together a couple of years ago. Yes. Belgian beers, yes, that's right. No, seriously, I think CEPIA was really the result of something we started already some years ago, I think 2018, in which into the environment of the 3 or 4 GBCs, I mean Denmark, the DGNB, I think Switzerland and Austria were also involved in the G17 brainstorm sessions. I think somewhere there we started that kind of alliance. And it is mainly a result of seeing a need that Europe is creating certain frameworks, and that then we run the risk that it's not touching reality. And we said amongst us, we said, yeah, let's do something quickly, efficiently, very agile. And in the first case, it was the taxonomy study, the first draft that was presented in 2019. We said, let's bring this to the market, and we did it very quickly, mainly because there was a common understanding on how do you measure sustainability. If you don't have that common understanding on how to measure, if you don't have it already on the table, then it's very difficult to do these things on a very quick way. So I think in a work of, I think, 1 year or 10 months, we showed to the market, to different members of different GBCs, that we can work together very quickly with data, going to results, and creating a document that was, I think, very helpful to the Commission to understand how taxonomy was touching the market. No? And I think that was just the first seed, and that's now growing. And I think the good thing is that we are not just limited to GBCs, we are opening it up to other entities. Yeah. And in that sense, yeah, it's something that will grow. We showed already that it's necessary to have it, and we're taking it calm, but step by step. I think that's a nice way of growing, organic way of growing, not trying to be all once again a big organization, just keep it small and agile, and we will see the coming years what comes out over there.
Yeah, great. And it makes clear that our common goal is to transform the markets, and since the certification scheme is one of the key instruments to make sustainability measurable, we have an instrument there we apply in the market. So which role has the DGNB's system in Denmark? So if you look on a little bit broader.
Yeah. Yeah. I must say, we had a great process, and that was before I came on board of the Danish GBC. We had so the founders had a great process looking at the world outside. We are such a small country, so what's happening out there? Let's see what great certification schemes are out there. We tested. We wanted to have the market interest out of the equation, so we tested 4 international certification schemes, and out came really in a superior way DGNB for the holistic approach and for the reference and for all the values that all of you know, and that was a very good choice. And we decided in Denmark to have one scheme to be able to really transform. It's not a matter of having a sticker by the door. I know that's Christine's favorite saying, but it's actually how can we make change happen, and that's with one language. And we can actually see now when people in all around the Danish construction industry or real estate, when they talk about sustainability, they always mention DGNB, usually in a lot of good ways, and sometimes, of course, you know, because we become the standard, they also like to kick. And that's fine, because at least we provoke something out there. So that's what's really happened. We are a small country, and we managed to get really a broad accept. Also that a standard is actually dynamic. Usually you think of a standard, wow, that's conservative and so on. But this is actually different. And that's where the partnership with all these, all you great people here, that's how we can stay dynamic, because we need knowledge from all of you to be able to move on. And so the last point I want to make is actually now, when we have new construction in Denmark, 20% of all new construction is actually DGNB certified. That's quite a bit. And yeah, so we have quite a pipeline we need to deal with. So that's part of success. And now we hit also the money world, like Peter was alluding to. So actually, when you're not delivering your DGNB certification, you're actually penalized with a fee, an expensive fee. So yeah, we have to work out from that pipeline, as you can hear.
That's great to hear. I would have some more questions here, and but maybe to have the view a little bit broader. So in Switzerland, you have a long tradition of sustainability assessment and ambitious concepts like the 2000 watt society and so on. And so what's the role the DGNB rating scheme plays in Switzerland, and where are the focus areas?
Yeah, yes, of course, we have a lot of tradition in also Minergie in Switzerland. It's very used, and but there is actually it's a shift. I think it's a shift more to this open and holistic sustainability view that the future, also the other international systems have, and especially for the DGNB. So we can see the last 2 years especially, there is more and more interest in what we do in Switzerland, and we have more and more also project pipeline for the future. And so I'm very, very positive also in Switzerland. Normally in Switzerland it's all goes in the same way than the rest of Europe, but 3 or 4 years later a little bit. So we have always a little bit delay, but I'm very positive for the future that we will also rise up with our development.
And I see what you are doing, and I really see that you are accelerating the market, especially in the existing building space with the building in use scheme. Since a lot of investment organizations are Swiss-based, and so in the end what we see in Germany is the push out of Switzerland in this area is also accelerating the market in Germany.
Yes, absolutely, because actually we have a really huge interest in this DGNB building in use scheme for portfolios, and so maybe I can explain all the certified building in new construction. Well, it's about 1 million square meters. Last year we had 50 buildings for building in use, and together them have the same also 1 million square meters. So we see that it's like eagle eyes. There is a huge development in this direction.
Let's pick up the goal of carbon neutrality until 2050 or 2045 in Germany. This is a common goal in Europe. I already mentioned these ambitious goals in Denmark. How do you manage to go so fast in Denmark? What can we learn from you? Where's the trick?
Well, you know about goals, and then we have these great politicians. Then it's up to us, you know, the industry. So they're ambitious with their goals, but what I think, if it should be necessary, and it's because it's a very small country, very homogeneous, and people are very getting very focused, and we see the investors. Now they start their competition on CO2 levels and so on. So it's not a matter of if, but it's a matter of when we can make it. And in all the technical knowledge that's out there, we actually see what legislation is coming up with in 2023. That's thanks to all the certifications. They got their data from the LCA in the certifications, and they could see, okay, we can set the target to 12 kilos. It's actually possible to go as far down as 4 kilo per square meter per year, and so on. And we are getting the examples now out there, so we are pretty sure that it will be happening, and there are quite big investments behind it. That's also we are not as wealthy perhaps as Switzerland, but we do have some wealthy foundations and companies putting their money behind it.
So what you say is it needs a proof of concept that it's possible to do, so politicians can act. Huh? That's, we see that also on the cities level, and we see more and more attention there. And Peter, is it also the case in Austria? Because in some areas, we know the city of Vienna has done actions in sustainability for many years. But is it going far enough, or?
No. Is not, and there is no concept behind. You have some cities like Vienna doing a good job, circular economy, urban mining, such things, but we are missing the concept. And in Austria, we have to have a zero situation in 2040. This means 10 years before European Union. So we will see. Movement on the governmental community side is not visible.
So we have to push together, and we have to help you to push harder. And I think this is just a fact. I'm looking to the timing here for the session. I think we have time left for a final round. So question to all of you. So what's the biggest success, or what was the biggest success last year in Denmark, in Spain, in Switzerland, in Austria, you had with the council?
Shall I jump into it?
Yes.
Thanks. Actually, the biggest success last year was in March, when the Danish politician decided to, and that was across from left to right, they decided to have targets for all new build in 2023. So from January, for all new build above 1,000 square meters. And that's thanks to all the work from our members for 10 years, thanks to you guys for the wonderful partnership. So, yeah. So now the politicians, we managed to move them, and the left person sitting in that room was saying to the one from the right, hey, you're taking all my arguments. And we are happy because, yeah, they have the same belief.
Super.
I wouldn't say that in Spain all the political parties have the same belief. I think that's but last year what we reached, and speaking from Green Building Council, not that I think the two elements with biggest impact was that we finally, after 12 years, had conversations, open, directly conversations with all political parties in the parliament, in the context of the parliament. It's not that they pick up your whole program, but at least in all these political parties, there's someone who is working on the item and who is understanding that he has to speak with GBC, to know more, to learn, and all these things. This is the first year that we really had contact with all of them, and that we had a certain impact in the parliament. And the second thing is that we made a huge progress in communication. Not communication to our own sector, but really to the general public, in general newspapers, El País, El Mundo, all these ones. And the proof on that was yesterday, that one of these big newspapers, they organized a 2 days conference in Madrid. And we were one of the 3 main speakers invited over there. And then you see that everybody starts knowing you, they recognize you, and that's a position that you gain during many, many years. But I think with the push of the European policy, with the momentum that we have, we were prepared. I mean, so as a GBC, we prepared ourselves to be ready on the moment. And I think last year, what we really in communication and in contact with policy and in Parliament, we made a big, big step forward.
Super. Congrats.
Yes, I have not a special point to focus, but I want to say in the last 12 months, we had about 5 of the hugest portfolio holders in Switzerland, which are new members from the SGNI. And together they have really hundreds and thousands of existing buildings, and the interest is really high. And so I think that's a success for us, yes.
So breakthrough. Cool. Peter, last but not least, Peter, what was the biggest success last year?
We have a lot of successes last year, but I think the biggest success is when someone is asking me, certification system DGNB, is there SDGs in? And I can say yes. And is there EU taxonomy in? And I can say yes. And is there levels in? And can say yes. And is there sustainable in? I can say yes. One-stop shopping. This is my success. Greetings to Stuttgart.
Peter, thank you for being here with us on Zoom at least, and we will have a follow-up with a glass of wine.
Perfect.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Enjoy the event.
Yeah, so thank you to all of you. And we're not just celebrating 15 years of DGNB today, but Mette's birthday is as well today. So we wanted to congratulate her and thank her a lot that she came to Stuttgart to celebrate with us. Happy birthday. And last week was Bruno's birthday, actually a week ago. So dear Bruno, we have a very special gift for you. You didn't hear my speech because you were late.
So sorry, my
Yes,
darling.
I hope you're late, sorry. Biodiversity is a very important topic for DGNB, so you get a little birdhouse for your garden, but be careful, it's completely circular, so you can disassemble it right away.
My friends' birds will be very happy.
So thank you very much, Christine, and thank you for being here on the panel. And I think you will be here also in the afternoon, and the evening. Use them and tell them questions about the markets in Denmark, in Spain, in Switzerland, and get information from first hand. Thank you very much for being here in the session, and we will follow up, I think, in about 10 minutes, and in the meanwhile, grab a coffee. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.